So good day and welcome once again to a lecture on web application development, and for now we are going to be looking at how to design your simple sign up form that people can use to register on your website. Okay, and lastly we want to look at how you can link it up together with your linking tag, such that when you click on contact us, it takes you to this, and when you click on home, it takes you to the home page, and the about us is going to be what you would be designing on your own with pure HTML and CSS. Okay, so now let's quickly create a sign up form and design one for ourselves that we just have email and password, something like that. Okay, so let's quickly continue on our journey by create a separate file for that. So once again, you want to follow up with what we are doing. So click on your lecture 2 project file, create a new file. You can just call it sign up or something like that. So let's make it sign, or let's just call it signup.html. okay, so you want to hold down shift and press this, and you want to create a div, and a short way is you just put dot here. That means you are creating a div that have a class of home, something like this, so the editor helps you out. Then remember, we now have header and footer, and I do not want to waste time typing those, so I will just quickly copy it from what I have done in the previous class and add straight to my and put. So then I now have dot content here. Okay, then after the dot content I now have footer, which of course I want to repeat. So because I want to repeat it, let's collapse this. I'll just scroll down to where footer begins, then copy the entire footer, Ctrl C. So later on, when we get to advanced web application development using Vue.js for our front end, you see how you do not have to necessarily be repeating all of this. But for now, we want to master HTML CSS, and we have to do it in this very ugly way. Okay, and it does not matter. Getting to understand those tags and what they do is the most important at this point in time. So now my sign up form, remember the content is the only thing that will be changing. So at this point you want to design your content, and if you look at what you have been doing from all others here, when you are designing your content that is changing, once you have something like this, content. So at this point I can go over here and also create a content for home, but this time around is for signing up. So home, then this would now be, you can just call it maybe registration or something dash content. Okay, that's another class entirely that you are creating. Okay, so we are going to create this class in a more different way than we have done before, but first let's give it some content so that you get a chance to see. But do not forget that the class name is now what? Registration dash content. So as usual, you already know how we do start. So I'm going to give it some BG color, just so that I want it to, let's give it maybe pink, just so that we can get to be on the same page. Hit Ctrl S. Okay, so now let us look at our signup.html, and this is it. You can right click it and click on revealing file explorer, and this is it. If you open it now, you won't be getting what you think. I guess you know the reason why by now. That's because we are not linking to our CSS file. Remember that the CSS file which we are linking to is inside the CSS folder here. So what you want to do at this point is to go straight to the edge and use your link tag as usual. Then you want to say css/style.css. Hit Ctrl S to save your job if you are on Windows operating system, and refresh. Then you can see our content over here. Okay, now let's continue. And first and foremost, this content, let's head straight back to our style.css. This is what we want to style. So I'm giving it some width, and the width that I am giving it right now, let's make it to be 30%, and hit Ctrl S to save your work. So the width is 30%. You can see it's very small. Now let's try to find a way to position it to the center of our document, and you can of course try with merging. The first parameter here means top and bottom, so I'm giving it 0, and the second means left and right, and I'm giving it auto. And if you refresh now, you can see I was able to put it at the center. So merging here, this 0 means I do not want any top merging and I do not want any bottom merging. If I put 10 here, that means I want 10 at the left side, 10 merging left 10%, 10, and merging right 10. But putting auto here is a way of trying to tell it to help me to balance it up. Hope you get. So I'm still trying to create my sign up form. So now let's head straight back to our signup.html, and the first paragraph that we are creating here, I will instead change it to maybe h3 and call it sign up, something like that. So and at this junction, let's say you want to create your form following the same approach that you have done before. That means you want to create a table, you want to create a row, you want to create a column, and inside this column you want to put email over here, and in front of the email you want to put input that will now have a type of what, of text. And you want to do the same thing for the password, meaning that you are creating another role, but make sure that you always close the existing role so that you won't fall into the trap of creating a role inside a role. So be careful, but the editor always got you covered by helping you to close your tag. Okay, now I'm creating another. So this time around, input once again, but the type is going to be password. And lastly, a tr again, td again, and input over here, and this is going to be type submit. Okay, now let's hit Ctrl S to save our document. Let's straight back here and refresh. Now you see what we have done. Okay, but we have a little bit of issue here. Where is this coming from? Okay, let's head straight back here and submit. Our submit is wrong, so quickly correct it. Submit, it should be this way. Okay, and hit Ctrl S to save your work, and you refresh. Then you now have your button of submit. But what, let's say you want to put register here instead of submit on the button, I mean, then you now pass the value property and you put your register, something like that, or you let it be submit once again. And if you now refresh, then you see that it now changes to register. Let's make our table to be very long, at least to occupy the whole of this 30%, which of course should not be hard for us by now. All you need to do is to head straight back to your registration content, and remember that inside this registration content we now have a table. So you can try to look at it once again. If you registration content, we have table inside it. So now we want to style that table. Remember we styled another table before, but the two tables are different because this is under registration underscore content. You can see by now why I am dwelling more on the hierarchy, because if you have to put a if you have to apply some properties on every table, then you fall into a trap. But now I'm talking to a table that belongs to here, and I want to give that table a width of 100%. But if you know that all of those tables have similar design, then there is a way you can let all the table have similar design by just creating a tag for table and give it those properties. Okay, so let's refresh. You can see now that it's able to put it over there. So let's go back to our signup.html and this input. Remember I introduced you before to call span, which of course we can do in our, and I will call span, column span. Oh, I'm so sorry, it should be on the td 2, hit Ctrl S to save. Then look now, okay, then we want to position our button to the center, which of course is the inputs over here. So I mean this button here, the inputs. So, and if you look at it, okay, so the text align should be on the column, okay, because this input is just like the img tag, which is inline block. So except you ramp it up in a block element, so we have something like this. So you want this sign up to come to the center, okay, but remember that even these two properties we do not want to see it. So if you look at this tr and this td, you can, let me leave that as an exercise for you. You can create an id for it, and once you create an id for it in your this thing, apply this property there, then you just apply that id here, and before you know it, you are able to shift it over there, okay. And look at this h3. This h3 is also a descendant of the registration, so you can just tie the h3 itself by copying this, Ctrl C. So you want to put h3 because you are styling h3, and what you are putting here is text line of center, and you do want to close the curly braces, hit Ctrl S to save your document, and you want to refresh, and there you have your sign up form. So the last thing that I want to do is I want to be able to link it up such that I can link all of these, and together I can click on them. So let's quickly do it, and we are going to start from the first file here, which is index.html. so this is what I want to link. So I will be introducing you to the a tag, okay. So anything inside this a tag will now be linked. Look at it, Ctrl V. So if you hit Ctrl S now and you refresh, you can see the home has changed to what I can click. But if you look at the two other, the contact us and the sign up, the home remains the same because I only did it on the contact us form. I hope you understand. So what are you going to do now? You want to link every other thing. First, let us finish the linking. Now I want to, anytime you click on home, it should take you to this page. So I'm going to type index.html, but anytime you click on about us, Ctrl X, so I'm going to use a again, then put contact about us here. Although we do not have about us now, but you really want it to take it to about-us.html. So I want you to create a page for about us on your own as your exercise. Then I'm cutting away this as well, creating another link, hit Ctrl V. Then thank God we have contact us, and if you check it well, this is the contact us.html, so it should take me to contact us.html. And lastly, I have sign up, Ctrl X, so I'm using the linking tag, and this is what is going to link sign up. So href at this point, then it's taking me to sign up .html, something like this, and this is the file over here. So that means I am done linking all other. So Ctrl S to save my work. So if you look at your index.html, you will see that all of them are linked together. But if you go to contact us now, okay, finally it takes you here, but unfortunately you can't go back. That's because you need to link it on all others as well. So what I'm going to do is to take all of this entire URL, Ctrl C, then go to this one, then replace it with all of this, Ctrl V, and that means they are also linked from here. Then go to signup.html, then replace it with all of this, Ctrl V, and that means they are also linked from here. At least at this point in time, if you refresh now, you would see that you can now go to home, go to contact us, go to sign up, but you will be looking that why does the color change. The a tag by default, it has what we call a default color. So if you go back to our CSS, you can just give that a tag its own separate color. So a tag I want to style now, and I can just give it color, I can just give it color white and hit Ctrl S to save my work. So if you refresh now, at least you can see all of them comes back in white. And oops, this one doesn't lead us anywhere. That's your own exercise to do. You can see the file was not found, so you have to create about us.html and do your own design there. So Ctrl S, so this is the sign up. So, and this marked the end of my training and on HTML and CSS. This I want to believe is going to go a long way to put you in a position to learn some other concepts. We have a whole lot to cover, and we cannot sit down on learning HTML and CSS for a very long time. So you need to read on some other thing, do some other stuff just to understand the tags, because in the real sense of it, we might end up not using so much of what we have learned, but the idea that you have gathered from learning this, the principle, the way to work with it, knowing those tags, that is all you need as a prerequisite to further up your knowledge. But you might want to we will be using some other framework like bootstraps, and that's why I do not want to do much on this. Okay, so that is going to be the end for HTML and CSS. The next I want to quickly take you, maybe in my next lecture, is Flexbox. How do you make use of CSS Flexbox to handle responsiveness for you, so that in our subsequent lecture we'll now look at bootstraps as a whole. But we need to quickly learn Flexbox and move to JavaScript to finish up our training on front-end design. Okay, and let me quickly welcome you and thank you once again for joining me on this lecture. So in my next lecture, you should be expecting something on Flexbox or JavaScript. Okay, so thank you so much for joining me on this lecture. God bless you.